Assembling the Cutie Tabletop fabric frame. Before beginning, compare the contents of the box with the included parts list. If anything is missing, please call the Grace Company at 800-264-0644. The frame tracks allow the bottom carriage to move horizontally across the frame. Take the following steps to assemble the frame tracks. Find and press the button on the side of one of the short cross supports and slide it into one of the long cross supports until it clicks into place. Do the same for the other cross supports. Attach 2 of the track supports onto each of the cross supports using 3 20mm screws for each track support. Leave the screws loose. Insert a plastic track into each side of each plastic track support. Tighten the screws. The frame sides support the rails and hold up your fabric. To install the frame sides, slip the 4 bungee slides onto the mounts of the front left and right corner braces. This is a convenient place to store the bungee slides when the bungee accessory isn't in use. Attach each of the corner braces to the ends of the track supports with 2 8mm screws. Leave them loose. Install each of the side assemblies with the levers at the front toward the inside of the frame with 4 8mm screws. Don't tighten them. Push in the rear corner braces so they are flush with the tracks and sides. Keep everything square and tighten the screws. The top and bottom carriages shuttle the machine across the frame. To prepare and install the bottom carriage, follow these steps. On the rear of the bottom carriage, the end with the stoppers, install the encoder bracket with 2 8mm screws. Place the bottom carriage onto the frame so the wheels ride the track. Install the second encoder bracket onto the left side of the top plate with 2 8mm screws. Place the top plate so the wheels ride the bottom carriage track. Carefully press down on the carriages and slide them to one side of the frame. Tighten the screws on the top of the nearest front corner brace. Slide the carriages to the other side of the frame and tighten the screws on that front corner brace. Open the top plate clamps and place them into the slots in the top plate and slide them to the edge. If you plan to use your home sewing machine on the frame, place it onto the top plate, centered between the clamps. Ensure that all 4 corners of the machine are solidly placed onto the metal of the plate. Close the clamps to secure your sewing machine. The rails hold your quilt in place while you work. Locate the long and short take-up rail segments. Each of these has 2 rectangular cutouts on one end. Slide the long take-up rail over the connector. Using the 2.5mm Allen wrench, tighten the set screws in the take-up rail. Open the take-up rail caps by sliding them outward, following the direction of the arrows. Pass the take-up rail through the throat of the machine with the long segment on the right side of the frame. Place the rail into the grooves on each side of the frame with the notches down. Close the rail caps to secure the rail. Assembling the front rail includes attaching the side rails, and it may be easier to do this on a flat surface, away from the frame, such as a table or the floor. Locate the long and short front rail segments. These have keyhole cutouts on one end. Slide the long segment over the connector on the short segment so the screw holes align with the connector screws and tighten the set screws. Locate the 2 upper rail corners and place them top down on the table or floor. Place the two side rails onto the corners. Place the front rail onto the corners as well, with the keyhole cutout facing up. The long rail segment will be on the left and the fabric straps up and to the rear of the frame. Attach the bottom rail corners using 3 2.5mm screws. Open the levers on the front of the frame sides. Slide the assembled front rail into the frame sides with the corner screws facing down. Close the levers to secure the rail. Once the frame is fully assembled and the machine installed, adjust the frame to accommodate your machine with the following steps. Open the levers at the base of both side assemblies. Set the rail height so there is about a finger's width of space between the take-up rail and your sewing machine. Then close the height levers. The distance of the front of the machine is determined by the length of your machine throat. Open the levers of both side assemblies. Pull your top plate or quilting machine as far forward as possible. If needed, adjust the front rail to create about ½ inch of space between it and the machine. Close the levers when satisfied. If you're using your own machine with the frame, the top plate handles can easily be adjusted to a comfortable position. To do this, first loosen the handlebar knob, then rotate the handles. You can also extend them for a better reach. Tighten the knob again when you're finished. If your foot pedal cable is too short to extend to your machine's full range of motion, use the foot pedal extension cable in your kit. If the cable is still too short, you may need to run it across the front of the machine. Open the levers on the machine clamps on one side and slide them away from the machine. Run the cable between the machine and the clamps. Then push the clamps back into place and close the levers. Now you're ready to quilt! If you have any questions about assembling or using the Cutie frame, don't hesitate to call the Grace Company at 800-264-0644.